Kia ora everyone, welcome to this episode of New Zealand Fight Report.
We've got an action-packed wrap-up of fights from August through to October. We've been busy covering fights from Auckland, Wellington, New Plymouth, Featherston, Mount Maunganui, Whanganui and Porirua.
Also this weekend, Auckland is hosting the New Zealand MMA Expo. Stay tuned for more details on this event. Our coverage begins in Porirua, where Razor Promotions returned for the second instalment of Honour. The fight card was headlined by local favourites, the Rhydian brothers, who faced a pair of tough Aucklanders in both their bouts, as well as the usual host of talented amateur Muay Thai fighters looking to make a name for themselves in the ring. First up was younger brother Hinare, who took on Smack's Ambrose Matayo in a carefully timed technical bout. These two are developing young fighters from each end of the North Island and are definitely worth keeping an eye on. Both stalked each other around the ring, showing great composure and skill. It was Hinare that took the close bout by split decision. Razor Rhydian took on Smack's Sam the Shank Hill for the WMC New Zealand welterweight bout. Rhydian currently holds the New Zealand TBA 63.5 kg title. Ra's impressive footwork saw him move around Hill, getting in range to unleash a flurry of combinations, exerting his dominance from early in the piece. Both fighters, with a few matches on their records, battled it out, with Hill throwing some heavy elbows with his opponents on the ropes. Ra's superior control saw him come away with the title in an epic fashion, winning it by unanimous decision.
Next in August, Featherston locals were buzzing as Rumble and the Rapper returned to a packed Memorial Hall, bringing it with a pair of TBA title fights, tag team bouts and some fierce support for the hometown fighters. In what we believe to be the first women's Muay Thai tag team fight in New Zealand, Featherston Muay Thai's Esther Manessa and Ramona Sargent fought New Zealand Fight Report and MTI Wellington's SJ McCann and Bailey Palmer. SJ and Esther have previously fought in singles competition, as have Bailey and Ramona. In an exciting bout that had the Featherston crowd on their feet, all four women gave it their all, but the aggression of the MTI tag team saw them walk away with the unanimous decision. In the first of two TBA title fights of the night, Sam Spate of Tumoana Nelson fought Terry Kremen of Featherston Muay Thai for the TBA North Island welterweight title. After a measured start, Spate came forward against Terry, as he would throughout the fight. As always, Kremen showed that he's at his most dangerous when he's backed into a corner. The fight featured liberal use of elbows, which made for nasty shots during the clinch exchanges. In the end, Sam Spate won via split decision, claiming the TBA North Island welterweight title. Terry has since announced that this was his last fight. Terry has put on a number of exciting performances around the country in two separate stints in New Zealand Muay Thai and will be fondly remembered. The night was headlined by Adam Manassi of Archangel Thai Boxing versus Andrew McGrath of MTI for the TBA NZ welterweight title. The fight kicked off at a fast pace, with both fighters trading punches early on. McGrath showed the trademark aggression he's become known for, wading in with heavy punch combinations. Manassi looked to take advantage of his height and reach, throwing kicks to try and keep McGrath at bay. The fight featured lengthy clinch exchanges, where McGrath was the busier of the two, throwing knees. After 5 action-packed rounds, it was Andrew McGrath who took the unanimous decision and the TBA NZ welterweight title.
First up in September was the hotly anticipated follow-up to New Plymouth's Eruption on the 22nd. With great fights from a varied range of weights and abilities. Our pick, and also the promoter's pick for Fight of the Night, was T.Y. Williams from Alpha Porirua, facing O'Neill from Smack Gym in Auckland. The heavy-handed Williams went straight to work with his tight left hook, overhand right combos, while managing to evade many of O'Neill's shots. However, once O'Neill had got into his rhythm, he used his range to manage the distance, using front kicks and timing to counter many of Williams' shots. Williams also used his timing well to get in range in order to unleash a flurry of punches. O'Neill favoured head kicks as one of his main strategies and landed a few on Williams' tight guard. At the end of this battle, it was O'Neill that came away with a unanimous decision. The main event for the 66 kg WMC North Island title went down between two Porirua-based fighters, Hinare Rhydian of Alpha Porirua and the current title holder, Adam Manassi of Archangel Thai Boxing Gym in Porirua. Rhydian stormed into the match with one thing on his mind: winning, and it showed. Using a strong front right kick to push Manassi back and establish his dominance, Rhydian was aggressive throughout the entire bout. Round 2 saw the fighters trading combos when Rhydian also landed a good front kick to Manassi's face. Manassi attempted to come back during the last round, but his efforts were not enough to keep his title. making Henare Rhydian the new 66kg WMC North Island title holder. It was great to see the respect shown by all the fighters at the end of their matches. The sportsmanship was noted, and it's definitely something to be proud of.
On the 25th of September, 3 MMA fighters from the Deep South flew to Johannesburg, where they represented New Zealand in an inaugural Tri-Nations tournament against South African and Australian teams. Team Hammerheads Robert Dean, Brogan Anderson and Ronnie Parks joined Australian-based Kiwi Joe Muir to fight in the 16-man light heavyweight elimination tournament for a $10,000 purse. The Kiwis did well in their first fights, with Robert Dean winning by TKO in the second round, Joe Muir winning 19 seconds into the first round by KO, Brogan Anderson winning by armbar submission in the first. Unfortunately, Ronnie Parks didn't get his chance to compete due to the ring collapsing after the 7th fight, meaning a cancellation of the tournament due to unrepairable damage. Despite the disappointing early finish, it was a strong example of the quality of New Zealand MMA on an international stage.
Over in Tauranga, on the 29th, was the 8th instalment of Muay Thai Mayhem. A bout that got the crowd hyped on the night was the match between Corey Steele of Tokoroa Muay Thai and Chevy Te Kōwhai of Rotorua Liga. We saw Chevy using range to throw head kicks, which Corey managed to stop and throw his opponent back in the first round. The two took their time, playing with timing, taking turns to advance forward, throwing combos, then getting back out of range. At the end of the day, it was Chevy that took the unanimous win. An energetic Arden Cox-Jones fought Ray Iruka in an exciting battle of skill and wits. After taking a couple of moments to settle into his stride, Arden began his attack in round 2 by exploding with multiple mixed combos, startling Ray and then swept him from behind the knee. Round 3 was even more explosive, with a barrage of punches and left head kicks, giving Ray a standing 8 count. The fighter was unable to continue, declaring Cox-Jones the winner by TKO. Late in the evening, Matt Larkins of Rotorua Liga fought Matthew Sharkey of Rogues Martial Arts Tauranga. Larkins exploded forward with busy combos, ambushing Sharkey in round 1, throwing some tight knees and forcing Sharkey to the ground. Sharkey retaliated with some stiff jab and whip combinations. The stiff counter jabs seemed to be pretty effective, as in round 2 it set Sharkey up perfectly for a quick overhand right. He proceeded to finish his opponent by TKO with a beautiful right uppercut. The main event of the evening was the WMC New Zealand lightweight title between Wendy Talbot of Red Dragon and Kelly Floyd of ROA Wellington. Wendy, the taller fighter, kept Kelly well at bay, using her range to lure Kelly in and then strike. After a stiff teep to the body in one of the neutral corners, the fight was called off, declaring Wendy the new New Zealand title holder. On the same night in Whanganui, the River City Rumble went down. Among other fights were 2 titles that kept the crowd entertained. One of the promoters' picks of the night was a TBA North Island super lightweight title between Leon Calva and Alexi Serapisos. A very technical battle saw these two throw some great combinations that finished with leg kicks. Alexi continually used his left uppercut followed by the right overhand, finished closely by leg kicks. Leon was unrelenting and unwilling to give away any ground, constantly pushing forwards. Both fighters digging in deep for the whole 5 rounds. It was Leon that came away with a unanimous decision win, earning him the title. The second title of the night was the TBA New Zealand Cruiserweight title between Kyle Gallagher and Troy Tunison. This was a fantastic 5-rounder. Kyle looked comfortable in the clinch, landing some good grapple knees. Troy barreled inside range to deliver punches, but Kyle's range was just too much for Troy. After an explosive clinch exchange in the 5th round, it was Kyle that finished the match by TKO, the hometown hero taking the win and the New Zealand title.
On the 13th of October, Shuriken brought us Clash of the Continents, New Zealand versus South Africa, displaying top New Zealand MMA talent and visiting warriors from South Africa. The following footage was kindly brought to you by Shuriken and 10-8 Media. Gareth Ely of Strikeforce took on Eugene Behrman of City MMA. After an initial feeling out process as the fighters found their range, Ely secured a trip takedown from a waistlock and landed straight into mount, unleashing vicious ground and pound. As Behrman rolled to avoid the damage, he wound up in a rear naked choke from Ely, who secured the submission victory in the first round of the fight. Strikeforce's Daniel Hooker beat C. Kuboni of South Africa in a dominant performance. Hooker took Kuboni down early, and after a slick transition to mount, rained down ground and pound. While the South African continued to defend intelligently, Hooker locked on a reverse triangle from mount to secure the submission victory. Shuriken's Arthur Lasicki took on the visiting Kieran Davies. Davies displayed a range of kicks in the early going. As Lasicki rushed in to close the distance, Davies managed to get low and pull Lasicki down, and after the resulting scramble, take Lasicki's back. He then locked in a rear naked choke that would secure the victory for South Africa. Concluding our coverage for this episode, we head back to Wellington, where KO Promotions returned with Deadly Debut 18. The card was headlined by a 4-man tournament set to determine dominance in the region at 80 kilos. The 4 competitors were Angus Lindsay of Combat Room, Dylan Botha of MTI, Ronnie Parks from Hammerhead, and Shane Johnson of 4 Dragons. The first bout drawn in the tournament was Angus Lindsay versus Shane Johnson. Both fighters clashed with punches early on before Lindsay closed the distance and worked knees from the clinch. Johnson was dropped for a count in the first round by the aggressive Lindsay's body knees. In the second round, Lindsay capitalised on the damage he'd scored in round 1, marching into the clinch and finishing Johnson with knees. He'd go on to meet the winner of the next fight in the final. The second qualifier drawn was between MTI's Dylan Botha and Hammerhead's Ronnie Parks. The fight went the distance after 3 rounds of all-out war. The fight was as close as they come, and it was Dylan who got the nod from the judges in a razor-thin split decision. Dylan progressed to the final, and there's already talk of a rematch between these two in the future. The final fight of the 4-man tournament between Angus and Dylan was all the more anticipated due to the fact that both fighters shared the ring for their first novice fight in 2011. Lindsay appeared to come into the bout relatively unscathed following his finish of Shane Johnson, whereas Botha was visibly worse for wear following his war with Ronnie Parks. Angus looked to close the distance on Dylan, locking in the clinch and looking for knees. After a lengthy clinch exchange, Angus dropped Dylan for a count. Dylan recovered, but Angus once again marched forwards and this time was able to finish the fight with further knees, taking out the 4-man tournament.
We'd like to say a big thank you to all the fighters and promoters that have had us at their fight nights around the country. Without your guys' support, there's no way we could do what we do here.
Well, that's it from us, guys. We'll leave you with the details of the MMA Expo and also our upcoming fight calendar. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Coming up this weekend is Aotearoa's first MMA Expo at the ASB Showgrounds, featuring New Zealand's most successful exports, Mark Hunt and James Te Huna, as well as a seminar held by Ensign Inoue. This experience is a must for any MMA fan, with the inclusion of a kumite, kids kickboxing and a grappling competition. This is set to be one of the biggest events for New Zealand MMA this year. New Zealand Fight Report is heading up to cover all the action. Make sure you come and say hi.
New Zealand fight fans have an action-packed couple of months coming up with MMA and Muay Thai on both islands. On the 10th of November, South Island MMA fans can look forward to Warzone Fight Night, where 3 titles are on the line. This will be the first time a Supremacy FC title will be fought for on another promotion, with Hammerhead Promotions and Supremacy FC working together to grow the sport across the country. Warzone also features a strong undercard of up-and-coming South Island fighters. In Palmerston North on the 17th, Scorpion Thai Boxing is breaking in their new gym premises, with a night of Muay Thai and MMA showcasing the skills of fighters from Scorpion, MTI Wellington, Fielding Muay Thai, Combat Room, Relentless Whanganui, Hybrid MMA and more. On December 1st, Extreme F1 is back, with last year's Kings returning to face off against a team from the Philippines. New Extreme F1 Kings will also be crowned. On the same night, Merciless 2 is being held in Napier. Local business owners will be boxing for charity, and there's also an 8-man MMA elimination tournament for a $10,000 cash prize. Tickets are available from Ticketek. On December the 8th, the Wellington region will be treated to KO Promotions' Deadly Debut 19, Seasons Beatings. Spectators will be treated to novice and amateur bouts. More details will be announced soon. And to round the year off, the City League Fight Gala is on the 14th of December. Further details to come on an upcoming episode.